Now that we've already learned most of the basics, we're starting a pattern in this Building an App series, alternating the videos about big new concepts and shiny new libraries with videos where we just do a bunch of cleanup. And in case you couldn't guess from the title, this is one of those cleanup videos. If you've watched previous videos and have been frustrated by how haphazard and kind of ugly the styling has been, then you're in luck. This video will be a huge relief, either when you're watching the future videos and stuff looks much nicer, or if you get pleasure out of watching stuff improve and clean up, then you'll love this video as well. On the other hand, we're not going to learn any major new concepts, although we'll be reviewing old concepts and picking up little tidbits about Vuetify and CSS. Here's what we'll be doing today. So first we'll be making the video edit page better so it's more clear. Then we'll be creating a video preview component that we can put in several places, and that'll help out with our workflow. Then we'll make improvements to the watch page. And then we'll reinstate the played checkmark that we had on the old Vue app before switching to Nuxt. And then finally, we will get Font Awesome working in Nuxt. Start with our video edit screen because that's the place where we've been spending the most time lately, so that was where I first started to get bothered by our current styling. So first I'm going to take all these short fields and put them above our big markdown fields. And so that way the user can get a look at them much faster. It's easier to see at a glance what's up. All right, and it looks like I missed one. That's interesting. There we go. I don't know why that one stayed at the bottom for longer. All right, and now let's go ahead and edit what it says in here. This was sort of a gimmick from when we were creating the footer. Let's go ahead and say where the code will be displayed. So this code will be displayed below the video. Good. That is much more appropriate for what we want. All right. Now our next thing will be this duration. So the first issue we'll work with is that it's kind of ugly. It looks like it might be more associated with the video URL below it. So let's try and put it to the left of where we put in our input. It just so happens that vText field has a way to put stuff to the left. It is the pre-pinned slot. And now that we know about slots, we know how to use that. All right, so here we will, instead of making this self-closing, we will add a closing tag here. And we will put in a template tag in for the pre-pinned slot and put our duration display there. And let's see if that does what we expect. Yep, it puts it to the left. Excellent. Now we'll want it to stand out a little bit more. And so we can do some custom CSS styling for that. And so we could style it within the component, but then that styling would show up every time we use duration display. And that's not what we want. So we'll just create a span here with the class of duration display. And then we can go ahead to our scoped CSS and I'll paste in some styling. And this styling will only apply within this component. All right, there we go. So now that's clearly set off. but also connected to this field. And you can see it still updates correctly. There is another issue that I want to address with this field. So it's showing 8 minutes and 54 seconds, right? But let's do 6:04. Now it's showing 10 minutes and 4 seconds, but that's not how we're used to seeing 4 written out. So let's put a 0 before that 4. So this is probably a little bit too much to do in the template. So let's go ahead and make some computed properties, and we'll be calling them minutes and seconds. So minutes is straightforward. It's just exactly what we have here, with the difference that we have to have return and we have to have a this stop for duration. Seconds is not quite as easy because, after all, we do want to change something. That's the whole reason we're doing these computed properties. So our goal is, if this is single digit, we want to add a 0 before it. So we'll need this to be, we'll just call it seconds. And then we can go ahead and call, so we'll define is single digit. And if seconds.toString, we'll have to call toString to get our length. And if it is equal to 1, then it's single digit. And then if is single digit, then we will redefine seconds as 0, and then the old seconds. And then we will return seconds. And we can see that this is working correctly. Our next improvement is to make a small preview over here to the right of the video URL and thumbnail URL fields. We'd like it to be similar to this on the watch page, just smaller. And as a matter of fact, why don't we just put this into a component, and then we can put it in both places and have the surrounding element change the size. All right, so let's go ahead and we'll add the video watch component. And the template is rather simple because we're wrapping another component. In this case, one that is powered by the Vue Video Player library. And so let's go ahead and we'll have to grab the player options. And so that will go on to computed. We'll need access to video, so we'll go ahead and have that as one of our props. That's passed down to the video watch component. And then we're going to have to register this in here instead of in here. So we will copy that, we'll cut it, and paste it in. And it's also the reason why we're importing these two. Okay, this should be enough to get it working for now. Now we'll have to go ahead and import that component. And register it. And then use it up here. Now we can see that it's working just like before. But now we can easily reuse it in other places, such as right here. All right, so we're in our video edit form, and these are the two that are doing the URL. So let's visually separate them out from the others. And then the video watch component is a preview for both of them. So let's go ahead and make this a vRow. And then we'll have a vColumn wrapping around both of them. And then another vColumn that's wrapping around the video watch component. Then we'll close both of those out. And there's two things we need to do. First, we need to import this video watch. And then we need to decide the relative widths of our vColumns. So we'll start with 10 and 2 and see how that looks. All right, so we can see we have our thumbnail, and then when I click it, the video starts playing. It's not actually a great size for watching, but you can tell that the video is there, which is the whole point of having it in this edit screen. However, it only looks great full screen. If you do any mobile styling, you'll see it's kinda disappearing. So let's go ahead and make it so, all right, so the default columns for the absolute smallest, because that's what calls is, will be 12. And then for small, it'll be 3 here, and for medium, it will be 2. So medium above, it'll look like it did before. And for small and extra small, it will display a little bit more appropriately. All right, so now we can see the nice preview there. And we'll go ahead and put this in tablet mode as well and see it's appropriate there as well. Okay, so now we can go back to viewing this full screen, and we can go ahead and add it over here as well to our video show page. We'll be using a similar technique, just with different column widths. So we'll go ahead and copy that, and we'll go to that page, and we will put it to the right of all of this. So here where we have these text fields in the old one, we'll be putting all this stuff. And then we'll go ahead and change these. So we'll try this and see how it looks at different resolutions. And of course, we need to import that video watch component as well. All right, that's looking decent. It could be a little bigger, but once again, we're not trying to actually watch it here. We're just seeing that it works. And I'd actually like it on the same level as these two, not on the same level as the title. So let's go ahead and move these two up and out of there. There we go. That looks nicer. And let's go ahead and look at it at different sizes now. All right, that's looking decent on the iPad and then on mobile. All right, pretty good. All right, so we have successfully made our watch and edit pages more visually appealing, especially here, and also easier to understand and use. That's great for me, considering the massive number of videos that I'll be uploading to get this site up and running. But what about the user? So let's go ahead and we'll start with improving this page, and then we will improve these pages as well. The first thing I notice is that this markdown is not being displayed as markdown, so let's fix that. So we will import markdown display. We are now in the watch/ID page, by the way. And we'll register it, and then we will use it in place of this. And that will fix that issue. So now we are displaying the markdown as intended. Now let's go ahead and add our code summary. Our code summary, we'll put this below everything because the code summaries can get rather long. Our current one isn't, but they will eventually. So it'll be on its own V row, and it'll be in a V column with calls of 12. And then we will do a markdown display. And for our markdown, put in video.codeSummary. All right, let's see how that works. All right, there we go. And let's go ahead and label it as a code summary as well. As we get more data, then we can start changing and improving this, but this is a nice improvement for now. Next, we'll notice that these check marks have been commented out for quite a while. And so let's go ahead and restore those. The first step is uncommenting this. Then we'll see that we have some old syntax here. So the new way of doing this is doing auth.loggedin. This is using the Nuxt auth plugin. Next, we'll need to get isPlayed and markPlayed working. And we can see that we have them both commented out down here. Let's start with isPlayed. And so first we'll clean up our map getters. We don't need get tag anymore because we have our get tag method to replace that getter. All right, so we've got that. And then for our isPlayed, before we had it in the users store, and that worked because it was connected to our current user, which we are also downloading in the user store. Now, our played videos are on the user that's in the $auth that we can access from anywhere, or we can find it under auth in the state. So based on that, we don't have to have it in our users module anymore. But I think that is still a good default because these played videos are most associated with the user. That's where the data is coming from. although maybe we'll call it user singular. So let's go ahead and go to our store, and we'll create a user.js module. And then we'll go ahead and open up our old Vue screencasts and see what we used to have for the user store. For now, we're just going to want the getters. Video is played, and then it relies on played videos. So we'll go ahead and grab both of them. All right, and we're going to be exporting const getters, and that will be an array like that. So yeah, this is how we did it in our other module. Okay, and we're relying on state.currentUser, which we don't have anymore, but we can do this.auth.user.played video IDs. And then we'll still need to put in the state because it expects it, but we won't be using it. All right, so map getters is not defined. That makes sense. We need to bring back mapped getters. All right, and okay, so we do not have access to the this property in our Vuex store. So we'll need to get our auth or user in there somehow. One way would be to pass in another argument, and that's passed in every time here. But I do not like this. First, because it ruins the caching in played videos, and second, because it is just not anywhere near as elegant as what we would hope. The second solution would be to use our root state. So when you're in a module, in addition to state and getters, you can get root state and root getters. And so here, we'll just call it rootstate.auth. And then we can see that, all right, it's working. We can see the green played. We can't see the green checkmark because Font Awesome is not working yet. But we'll get to that in a second. First, let's go ahead and add this back to this view as well. All right, so we already have our getters, and so when we go to video list video, then it should be easier. We uncomment this, and then we will import map getters from Vuex, and then in our computed hash, we'll just map getters. And now let's check that out. All right, so it looks like it's working. It shows played on some of them, and it doesn't show it on the others where they have not been played. Let's go to one of those others. Here we have our mark played button, which doesn't work, so let's get that working. We have our mark played method, and then that will dispatch to the store. So we'll go ahead and put it in the user module, and we'll keep the name the same. We'll go ahead and find it here in our old user module. So we will grab that, and we will export our actions hash here, with mark video played being the only one in it. And here, instead of state, we'll need root state. All right, so that should work. And actually, we're checking .name to see if it was there. Logged in works just as well. In fact, it works better. And then we'll need our API. So we will grab that import and have it there. And we do not yet have our API here. So actually, we do not want the API. We want to adjust this to use Axios. So in our actions, we do have access to this. So we'll just call this .$axios.post. And then we'll want to get in our mutation. And we'll find the mark video played mutation. Copy that and paste it in here. And once again, we'll have to get the root state so we can get the current user from auth. And in this case, I think that we'll want to pass it in. All right, so we can replace all of this with the user, and let's see if this works. And so, all right, so we can't use the property concat of undefined, and that's because it's played video IDs, not played videos, because over the wire, we're getting sent stuff in underscore form. And since we're not transforming it to put into the state, it's going to show up underscored. All right, let's try this again. We hit mark played, and it shows up. That means the commit worked. And if we reload, all right, it's still green, and that means that our Axios call worked. All right, so our green check marks are working and they're being saved, except the check marks themselves are not actually working. It's just all the other stuff around it. And that's because Font Awesome is not working correctly yet. So let's go ahead and get it working in Nuxt. So there is a community plugin that integrates Font Awesome with Nuxt. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to type yarn add Nuxt Font Awesome to get that going. All right, it's installed. Now let's go ahead and put it into our Nuxt config. So if we just do this, we're going to run into an error. Let me show you. And here we see that the checkmark is still not there because we cannot find that icon. So what we're going to need to do is do this more complex configuration. And we will not need the component. That changes what the component is, and we're fine with the default Font Awesome icon. But we will take the imports and this set in icons. So that's going to bring in the FAS that we are missing. All right, then we'll close out the imports and that as well. And to get this working, we will have to yarn add that as well. And we'll start it back in dev. And now we can see our check mark and that it's showing up everywhere that it should be. The next thing I'd like to refactor is the home page, as well as the tags page, since they're essentially the same thing with different data right now. And I'd like to replace them with a complex data table where we can sort and see a bunch of different things. However, doing that is a relatively complex topic, and so I think it should get its own video. So let's go ahead and review what we did today. So we got this checkmark and played reinstated. We made this respect markdown. We added our code summary. We put this video player into a component, and then we could use that on the show page. And then a lot of our other changes were on the edit page. We added this video play component as well, so we can see when things are, for example, if we mess this up, we can see immediately that it's messed up. That's really useful. And we made the duration work better and display more clearly, and we rearranged some of this stuff. Overall, I think that our app is now quite a bit easier to use, and we've set ourselves up for a good next couple of episodes. And so in the next episode, we're going to be changing out these URL fields for a direct upload file input field. So instead of having to go to S3 and upload it, grab the URL and come back here, we can upload it directly from here, and we won't even have to have it talk to the server. Well, we won't have to have it sent through the server, that is. And then after that, we'll go ahead and do the data tables component for here and here, although the two tables are going to look a little bit different. That may or may not be split up into two different videos. And then after that, we'll start adding series as a way to organize our videos. And that's it for today. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons. And if you have ideas on how I can improve the styling even more, go ahead and type a comment.